of CRT is that racism is not aberrational, it's normal, it's ordinary. And I thought this was really interesting, and it kind of removes like the narrow. It actually really broadens the category of racism. Most people would think that okay, racism is only present when someone is able to prove that the intent is due to racial superiority or something of that nature. Like for instance, if we're talking about jury selection, people will use race to change the makeup of a jury because, say, your defendant, and this could work either way here. Say your defendant is black, so it doesn't matter what the makeup is of the lawyer themselves, they're going to try in jury selection to get as many black people in that jury as possible. Right? And then the prosecution is going to do the opposite.
Yeah, of course.
But yes, it's illegal to remove or change jurors because of their race, but you can basically use any other reason to mark them off of a jury. So knowing the information that, okay, if we have more black people on the jury, it's going to go in this black defendant's favor, that's racism.
Yep.
Like, it's using race as a leverage tool. The same thing in the opposite direction. It's just unfortunate that it's a basic part of human psychology. For me, I just consider racism a subset of tribalism. You're never going to defeat it totally, which is something else they talk about in CRT. So,
and
when they say,
or just to comment on that that definition of race, that definition of racism too. I think the broadening of the definition is, like, to me, one of the problems in this whole discussion, because it's it kind of reminds me of when I learned this about so-called postmodernists like Foucault and Derrida. Like, when I actually started reading books about them, I very quickly learned that their theories are descriptive. They're not prescriptive, and that's another thing that that people don't understand about this, that I think can be a problem, because like these slogans like defund the police or Black Lives Matter or something like that, people using them don't understand, or if we're talking about like the uber lefty crowd, maybe even don't look into what the definitions actually mean too, and then there are disagreements about the definition. So like right-wingers go with the least charitable definition of it. But the like I said, though, the important thing to understand is that this broadening of the definition of racism, it's much more descriptive than prescriptive. It's like talking about basically kind of like sociologically the presence of racism in society in terms of judgments that people make about Black people or people of other races that are not white, that are not necessarily even judgments born of malice. They're like judgments that are kind of a side effect of structures that are systemically oppressing Black people and people of other races that aren't white, without necessarily, like I said, having any malicious intent.
Right. So yeah, the racism broadening, it is, like, I get it, because to me, racism is a spectrum. It's not the switch that you turn on and off, and you turn on the switch and someone suddenly is a racist. You turn the switch off and somebody isn't. It's just kind of a fluid thing in our society. Like, there are definitely, like for instance, there are definitely people who prefer dating a specific race, right?
I think
That
most
is
people
racial
prefer dating people in their own races, like regardless of what race we're talking about.
Yeah, some people do. Like, that's not actually true for everybody.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
But
like, I kind of have a thing for Latina women.
Yeah, so I've mostly dated like Latinas like previously. So that's basically it. Like, it's been mostly Latinas that I've dated. I'm with a black Latina. That's an interesting thing, but
Okay.
right now, so yeah, the racism as a broad concept, I think what people get hung up about it is they keep thinking about the moral and ethical aspects of racism. And the problem is when talking about racism as a broader concept, it's like, what words do you use to describe that broader concept other than racism? It's sometimes we got to think of hey, some of these actual definitions and the names are poorly chosen. It could be simply that.